Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. Welcome to another weekly study. And in today's video, what I want to do is kind of talk to you about a situation scenario that a lot of you are in right now. And I'm going over this because of a really good post that came up just recently. And it was speaking to the Exercise 101 course. So if you purchased any of the ACE materials, of course, they give you a number of options as to which quote package you want to purchase. For the most part, we've said it 1,000 times. If we say it once, for the most part, the exam that you are going to sit for is going to be predominantly, majority of it, if not all of it, is going to come from this textbook. Okay. Meaning, and you can see it even as you go through. And again, we highly recommend that if you're in the Facebook group, that you get in there and actually look at some of the posts and see what students that have passed the exam say, some of the students that are going through, some of the students that have already taken the test. They know what's on at least one of those exams. Remember, ACE doesn't give the same exam over and over with the same exact questions. That's not how it works. They've got multiple exams that are being utilized throughout the year, but they all come from the same textbook. Obviously, questions are worded differently, and so it's a good idea to go in there and kind of take a look at what's going on. And of course, we are constantly getting questions related to, well, should I have purchased this other component, or if you got it for just part of the purchasing package, that's great. I know the Exercise 101 is one of those situations where I believe it just comes as a part of your purchase. Why am I speaking to this? Because again, when all is said and done, what we want to help you do is to pass that exam. I mean, that's the goal. You got to pass the exam. But there's another side to it, because kind of when I say that to you, I want to make sure you also understand that as a personal trainer for the past 3.5 decades or so, going on 4 decades in this industry, you actually want to be able to train people. Okay, we know, and you probably figured this out, this doesn't make you a trainer. This says if you pass the ACE exam, it says you have a base level of knowledge that gets you into the industry that now allows you to become a personal fitness trainer. I hope that makes sense. You're not a trainer. You're not a personal trainer until you actually get a job or you get a client. That's like when you become a trainer. The certification basically says you have a minimum level of knowledge. This is why this is important that we talk about this with the Exercise 101. And I saw a student had posted, and it just made me go, man, we really need to talk about this. Because when you look in the Exercise 101 course, that part of it, and you're going through all this material, and then you go and you find out that students are saying, yeah, none of that is on the test. Well, you go, well, why the heck did I even do that? And the answer is no. It's a good thing you did it, because remember, the other side of the I want to pass the exam right on the first. The other side of that coin is what I just mentioned. You actually got to know how to train people. Your base level of knowledge, okay, at least when I went through this, and I'm talking about 1980s, okay, you had to know the names of muscles. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got to know the names of muscles. You're not just a technician. You're also somebody that needs to understand elements of biomechanics, kinesiology. So this is one of those times where I'm going to tell you, okay, even though you may not see the infraspinatus and the teres minor and the subscapularis and the supraspinatus muscles, right, which are your rotator muscles in the shoulder joint, even though you may not see that on the test, holy cow, you need to know what those guys do. And you need to understand, you need to be able to say the name so that you can speak intelligently in the industry, number one. And you also need to just keep in mind that all the exercises that you do, all of these kinesiological movements, I hear people saying, well, do I really need to know, blah, blah, blah. Do I really need to know? And the answer is, well, I'm not sure how many questions. You're going to see some. You're going to see on horizontal abduction or horizontal adduction. Maybe one or two, I don't know. Depends on the test that they're giving. But holy cow, as a personal trainer, you better know what is involved in horizontal abduction and adduction. It's called a bench press, just as for instance, or a dumbbell. That's the movement. That's kinesiological movement. The more you know and understand those basic, and that's why they give you that course. That's why they're giving you that information, is so that you can discern, right? When you're looking at exercises that your clients are doing, trust me, trust me, trust me. Understanding basic biomechanics is going to be one of the most effective knowledge-based elements that you're going to develop as a trainer. It's what happens is it makes sense when you're doing it. Remember, we're still physically helping people do exercises, but when you understand that a client is getting a pain when they do this or something subtle movement this way, you're the one that can know, oh man, maybe if I just move up a little bit further this way or rotate a little this way or this way, and the pain goes away. If you understand why that happened from a biomechanical perspective, you can do any workaround you need to do. And that's going to help your clients, obviously. And so kind of the idea is that even though the exercise 101 course that you're taking, look, maybe not, not so much of that material will physically be on the exam. I get that, but please do yourself a big favor. Ace did a good job with that material. They really did. Go through it. That's what's going to help you when you get out there into the real world. Because my assumption is that after you pass the exam, my assumption, I could be wrong, but my assumption is that you actually want to be a trainer and you're actually going to help people with resistance equipment and TRX and all the other paraphernalia that goes along with it. So even though, and I'm showing you kind of the textbook here, the assessments that you're looking through, all of these, even though for the most part, you're probably not going to do a lot of these assessments, for instance, and I'm just showing you right now, chapter 10, shoulder flexion extension assessments. If you're doing exercise 101 and you're understanding a little bit more about the rotator cuff muscles or the muscles of the lower back, the erector spinae, right? Those multiple bands of muscle, or if you're understanding, for instance, just the synergistic relationship between the adductors and the TFL at the hip. Yeah, it may seem like a lot, and are they really going to test me on it? I would ask the question, but then put that off to the side and then just be a little bit more discerning and say, would I really need to know this when I'm actually training somebody? And the answer is yes. Yes, it's a good idea to know it. Okay. No, you're not going to talk to your clients about the TFL, right? The tensor fascial lat muscle, but you know it and you know what it does, so that when you're in a seated position, that guy is strongly tied to this particular kinesiological function. And the more you do it over and over, you start to go, oh, no wonder they don't like to do leg extension. No wonder it hurts when they do this. No wonder. And now you're able to speak to it intelligently. And so don't just dismiss, just as a, for instance, the exercise 101 course, if you got it, don't easily dismiss it, right, as useless. Perhaps if you've got 3 weeks to study and pass the exam, yeah, maybe it's not the best idea to study that material. But look, we talk about this in the general study guide that we got, and I say it over and over. You go into this, the studying that you do is based on, for the most part, your learning style, how you memorize information, and how much time you have. Remember, if you have 4 to 5 months to study for this exam, yeah, you got to study a lot of material. But if you've only got 3 weeks to a month, now be smart, be discerning. Yes, perhaps that information is not going to be on the exam, but for sure, it's going to help you when you actually get out into the real world. So again, in this video, the goal here was to sort of engage one of the posts that I saw out there. And again, it was a good post because it brings up a question that I know a lot of students have. Not everybody's going to post it. Okay, so do you need to know the synergistic relationship between certain muscles at certain joints to pass the exam? probably not so much. Yeah, you're going to need to spend a lot more time on assessments, right? Remember, look at your domains. You have that information. But more than anything, assessments, overactive, underactive, this muscle, that muscle, and how they function around a particular joint, maybe not so much. Insertions, origins of muscles, probably not going to be a whole lot of questions. But again, I just want you to keep in mind that knowing that information for sure is going to help you when you actually start training people. So just keep that in mind. Look, at Body Design University, we just want to help you pass that exam on the first shot. I mean, that's like the main goal. But I will say this, in the process, it's really a good idea to actually know how to train people. Now, that's what we do. That's why ACE has us as an educational partner, because obviously with us, you're going to learn the actual ins and outs of how to train people. Okay, the nutrition, the business, workarounds through exercise components, things like that. And that's what we do. So we want to help you with this. You have any questions or you need more clarification on any of the videos that we put out, please leave comments below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, obviously, and hit the notification bell so that you know when the material is coming out. And again, study from the textbook. This is your first and foremost, your go-to. Use the study guides that are provided and ask questions. Ask questions. Post comments that are specific to an area of study that you're struggling with. And then go back and look through all of the videos that we've already posted. We're here to help you out. As always, it's a pleasure. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Thanks.